Seems that we're all here already, Jen, can we do the swearing in now? Or do we have to wait till 6 because the meeting's at 6?
No, you can be swearing in now if you want, because the council meeting doesn't start at 6.
Yeah.
The swearing is in part of the council meeting.
Yeah.
Do you want to start?
You want to start? Sure. Okay.
All right, well, thank you for having me here tonight. This is sort of an infrequent duty I get to perform as a judge. I was excited to be part of the democratic process, and so thank you for having me tonight. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just confirm the names for the persons looking to swear or affirm. So we've got Andre Murphy here, of course, Gary Hopper, Carrie Atkinson, Trevor Lane, Bill Ward, Trent Allen, and Randy Manich. So what I'm going to do is those that are looking to swear, I'm going to have them come forward and place your hand on the Bible if we can squeeze in. And those that are affirming can just stand off to my immediate left now. And I'll have everyone do the oath simultaneously.
I plead not guilty.
We'll kick over Joe's coffee.
Oh, did I forgot I put it there.
Yeah, both sides is fine as well, sure, to make it easier.
It's on.
I'm going to turn in each direction, so if you forget the words, then you can follow along.
Instead of Jen having 12 cameras, someone just share them.
Yeah, we'll share them.
Yeah.
All right, everybody ready? All right, so repeat after me. I do solemnly declare that I am a resident of and an elector of the town of the Pas in the province of Manitoba. That I am a Canadian citizen. That I am of the full age of 18 years. That I am not subject to any disqualification under the Municipal Act or any other act of the legislature from being a member of council of the town of the Pas. That I will act faithfully in the office of the town of the Pas without fear, favor, or affection, and will truly, faithfully, and impartially, and to the best of my knowledge and ability, execute the duties and responsibilities of that office. And I make the solemn declaration, conscientiously believing it to be true, and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath and by virtue of the Canada Evidence Act. All right, very good. So then we'll start with Andre Murphy then. You can sign that one first at the bottom.
They're going to be on your phone.
Yeah, I'll send it.
All right, Gary.
Instead of having 10 phones, I'm sorry.
Gary. Trevor. Bill.
Can we get one group picture then, just so yeah, to the newspaper? I'll send it to you. And maybe even yourself too, Todd. So they know we're going to do it.
Okay, great. Todd can just stand behind
It's ready for Todd. Reading or wherever that's in either. Yeah.
Okay, you guys gotta get photos together. So, yeah, Trevor or Trent needs to come. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Okay.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you.
All right, sit down.
Sit down.
Jeez,
All right, let's throw you in that chair.
It's elder abuse.
With my coffee.
Sit.
Thank you.
Alrighty. So we'll call this meeting to order. A few minutes late. I'm sure somebody has the agenda to adopt.
Resolution number 2022-163, moved by Councilor Manage, seconded by Councilor Trent Allen. Resolved that the agenda be adopted as amended and presented.
All in favor of that?
Your worship, question?
Yes?
For additions to the agenda, I haven't fully read through this. What's your procedure now?
The procedure is we can add it before the agenda is adopted, and then we vote on it, and if everybody's good with it, then we can add it to the agenda.
And is there an area for new business?
No, there's not an area for new business, but anything can be added to the
Okay.
agenda with the majority of the...
Okay, so you haven't called the question yet then? Okay. What I'd like to have on there under new business is just if we could have administration check with the owners of the various buildings that are burnt in the downtown area, Lamb Crescent, Manitoba Housing, and just check on the status. It was one of the things that was brought up during the election there. Just, I know it's taking a long time for some of them, like well over a year. So it would be kind of, just let them know we're interested, what the progress is. And
Yeah, for sure, we can add that, and we'll add it as an action to the, for administration. to
Okay.
look after. So, does anybody have any concerns? So, yeah, we'll add it under the bottom of the agenda. But does anybody have any concerns with adding it to the agenda? It's actually a request. It won't be much of a discussion because we don't have the information available. So, if not, we'll approve that addition.
okay.
Everybody's good? Yeah. So
And then
we'll-
maybe important, maybe not, I don't know, I'll mention now. So if a counselor does have an issue that they want brought forward to be added to the agenda, so there's an issue sheet that we can distribute, and can distribute, so you put down issue by Counselor Lane, my issue is, whatever the issue is, if there's history on it, there's a section there to fill out the history. We've discussed this in prior meetings, unsure of what action was done, and it gets submitted, and then it gets added to the agenda.
So in the procedural bylaw, that's all additional items could be added, like anything can be added to the agenda at any time as long as the majority of council approves it. But for the most part, all submissions for the agenda should be in by end of day, I believe, on Wednesday. And that then it gets added to the agenda by Thursday so that we all see it through the weekend and can be prepared, and then as well as gives administration time to respond to it. But seeing that this is our first meeting, we'll take a few questions and add a few things to the agenda if we need to.
Yeah, I'm not expecting any feedback on this tonight, just to process.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so with that, those for the agenda, for? Against? Good. Okay, next thing here, we got adoption of the minutes, or confirmation of the minutes.
Resolution number 2022-164, moved by Councilor Manage, seconded by Councilor Allen. Resolved that the minutes of the public hearing and regular council meeting of October 12, 2022 be hereby received. All statutory declarations have been complied with.
Call question, again, just as for information, we are only receiving these minutes because most of us weren't all in this meeting, so this minutes as received. All in favor? Nobody opposed? All right, moving on to citizens period. So we have a citizen here today, our first citizen of our new council. Come on up and Tell us a story. So, yeah, just let us know who you are. Yeah, you can turn that mic on too so everybody can hear you. And just tell us your name and your address, and that'd be great.
I'm Lisa Nordic, and I live at 212 Patrick Avenue here in the Pas. I wanted to come today. I watched, I'll tell you this, I've never done this before. I've never been part of your meeting before, and I've never come to citizens period, so this is my first time. It was exciting to see you guys sworn in, so that was nice too. I watched the forums for both the RM as well as the town prior to casting my vote this year again. And one of the things that first made me sad and then made me, I guess, maybe a little bit angry or disappointed was the answers that some folks in both forums provided related to some of the social issues we have in our community. I'm not saying this to be critical. I'm coming from a position of caring, and I understand that we all have been raised and, you know, grew up in different time frames and from different families of origin and perspectives growing up. But I think that some of the comments sounded very punitive, not compassionate. And I think that maybe there could be some value in considering maybe partnering with the RM to do some cultural proficiency or cultural safety training. I just came from training myself today. It was called cultural proficiency training. I've done training before. It wasn't my first day training. You learn something every time you go. If you've attended it before, it doesn't mean that that's the end of it. You can continually learn across your entire life. You never stop learning. I was saddened to hear that 63% poverty rate for children in our area, in our region, in the north. That means their families are also poor. So that is startling. You know, I have a daughter, I have a family. I understand and I recognize today that I come from a position of privilege because of, I had two parents, because both my parents worked. I wasn't questioned about things as I was growing up. So I was encouraged today to use, if I have position of privilege, to use it for good. And I'm asking today if you guys would consider allotting some time and some funding and maybe partnering with the RM and OCN, we're a tri-community, to understand the social concerns and issues that face people because of some of the injustices that were done over the years. Again, it's not from a position of being critical. It's amazing the knowledge that you pick up. I can almost guarantee you, you will leave feeling good that you've taken that time and that you've taken the time to get educated, because some power comes with that education, right? Maybe you'll be able to apply for funding that's going to be able to support our residents in our community and all residents, whether they were born here or came here, they're residents, right? So I guess as I was making supper tonight, I wondered about coming to the first council meeting because you guys are fresh in the seat, and I wanted to maybe just bring that up.
No, we appreciate your feedback, and as you mentioned, this is our first council meeting, and there's been lots of communications through the campaign period on things that we need to do, things that our community has talked to us about. So over the next few weeks, we have some orientations and stuff, Lisa, and some of that fits right into what you're talking about, and you know, I'm hoping that, you know, we can help address some of the social issues that are going on within our community, because it's multifaceted and it does require partnerships and such. So appreciate that, but we will obviously be on our agenda in the future, and I look forward to hearing back from you if you notice us doing anything different.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Another point that I found interesting today was seeing people from a one-point position. You only see them in the position they're in now, and you don't look beyond what got them there.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So that makes a big difference in how you work with people, whether it's in any position, whether it's at retail, whether it's in medical, or if it's in a position in the community town office, whatever it is. So I just wanted to ask you for that as a concerned citizen, just for our entire community.
Thank you.
Yeah, and to partner in, with the RM and with OCN. And if you are interested in a speaker or a presenter, I can give you a name that you can check into.
Yeah, if you want to email us, if it doesn't hurt to have more resources, and when somebody's went through something, some positive training, that's great. Like you said, if you stick around for the rest of our council meeting, I'm sure you're going to hear some of the stuff that you're talking about that we will start working on. But again, this is our first 5 minutes of council, so
Yes.
we're very energetic. Councillor Hopper.
Thank you, Your Worship. You didn't point at me, but I think you're probably reflecting on some of the remarks I made about, I do have empathy for the people on the street. When I worked with the community chaplaincy for 22 years, I did get to know where these people were before they ended up on the street. And a lot of them had great families, jobs, and through addictions and other misfortunes, they ended up on the street by no choice of their own. Just they get in there, but we tried to help them out. It's an issue that's probably one of the major issues in the town, is the landscape of the people in the downtown area, and how can we help them. And I haven't heard anybody just say, don't help them, just send them out of town. Everybody wants to help them. We've tried numerous things over the last 20 years with little success. Sometimes there's success, sometimes there isn't. And that's an issue that we are going to deal with. And I think everybody's on board about, we're going to find a solution for it over the next few years, hopefully soon, because winter's upon us, and we don't want anybody to succumb to the weather.
Yeah.
But thank you for coming.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Good. Anything else? Any other councillors have any comments? No? Good. Okay, thanks.
Okay, yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And come back again if we think we're doing a
Yeah, I
good
watch you
job.
regularly. I appreciate the live feed.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, may I have that pen? I don't know where mine went already.
Somebody stole your chair, your pen?
Chair, my pen.
All right, moving along here. We're under departments, and I know there's no reports in the departments, but I do want to take a few minutes just to recognize the great work by our public works guys on the weekend. I know myself and Councillor Lane were in the arena on Sunday morning early, and there was a lot of positive feedback about sidewalks being done already and streets being plowed. And so good on the guys and Sam and his team and the rest of these guys, so thanks for that. Moving along to 623. You said, no. 621. Resolution, where is that? Sorry.
Resolution number 2022-165, moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Ward, resolved that council appoint chairman as deputy mayor.
Call the question. All in favor? Opposed?
Do you want to explain why we just automatically appointed?
Yeah, so just a background on that, that's a good point, thanks Jen. So Trevor already has all the signing authorities, and we need to keep checks being signed. I'll go get my signing authorities tomorrow, so appointment on deputy mayor is done annually, so a year from now we'll look at it again, unless he does something wrong, we'll have to cut him right away.
Just reappoint him in another year.
Okay, good. Thanks, Jen. Appreciate that. We've got 622.
Resolution number 2022-166, moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Ward, resolved that council authorize Mayor Audrey Murphy, deputy mayor Sherwin, the authorization to sign art agreements, checks, legal documents, and other negotiable instruments on behalf of the council.
question? All in favor? Opposed? None?
One question I do have, will we be going back to an automatic signature, or are you going to hand sign during each meeting?
We'll have a process for signing check.
Just because I know a lot of feedback was they couldn't stand watching somebody sign papers rather than paying attention to what's happening.
There will be a process to sign check, but just a point of order. We already called question and we voted on it, so if we're gonna have a comment on the actual resolution, then we should do it at the question period before we vote. Okay, we're on 623.
December meeting dates, resolution number 2022-167, moved by myself, second by Councillor Allen. Resolved that council approve the following changes in the regular scheduled meeting dates: December 12th, 2022 to December 14th, 2022, to coincide with the border revision. Cancellation of the December 26th, 2022 due to Christmas holidays.
Call question?
Question? So we're just having one meeting in December, is that correct? Okay, thank you.
Any other question? Comment? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. 624.
Association of Manitoba Municipalities Fall Convention Resolution number 2022-168, moved by myself, second by Councillor Allen. Resolved that council authorizes a number of members to council to attend the 2022 Association of Manitoba Municipalities Fall Convention in November.
So just call a question and just some background on this. We're looking for who's interested. That's why the number is blank right now. So once we understand who's interested, it'd be great if everybody could go. But it is in the middle of the week. It's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So that's the 21st through to the 24th, I believe, right, Jen? So.
Question?
Yeah.
Did the previous council forward any resolutions for, or support any resolutions from the north going forward for this convention?
Yeah, we did with the Thompson, when I was up in Thompson, and then I was on the resolution committee, and just off the top of my head, Councillor Hopper, I know there's something around firefighting training, firefighting paramedic training. There's something on Highway 6 upgrades.
Okay.
So there's a couple of them, but you know what, honestly, I don't remember off the top of my head. But I can share that information with you guys.
And the meetings have been scheduled or not for certain ministers already?
So we did, just for us, I did send a note to Julie, I think I may have come to you guys on it. We did request a number of minister meetings. Not likely we're going to see them all, but we did talk about transportation and infrastructure. I mean, we really need to talk about that Highway 283 upgrade and kind of throw our support behind there. There's Nesbitt with the natural resources and northern development. Minister Gordon, there's a discussion, we've been in with the CDC, we've been in multiple discussions regarding healthcare, and supposedly there might be something coming, but I think if we don't want to let our foot off the gas with that, and as well spend some time talking about the social issues, the other supports that our community needs. Minister Clark, Municipal Relations, so we've talked about that taxation toolkit many times, and that's in her portfolio, so it's something that we should probably just highlight to them again. Councillor Reeves, with advanced education, skills, and immigration. This is really where we need to talk about, again, the training in the north for the north. So really UCN push to get electrical carpenter training, paramedic firefighting training programs up and running in the north, because what they're finding in our area is that the people that are coming are just coming and leaving. Minister Collin on economic development, so that's just the regular stuff. We talk about being the shipment of the north, and then Gertson on justice and the Attorney General. And around justice, we need to talk about our public safety officers. There looks like there might be some funding available to help pay for some of that, but as well as we were about a year ago, and it's kind of stalled about the, and Councillor Hopper's probably aware of that community restorative justice program. So the RCMP had actually talked to us about establishing that again in the north. So those are the topics. We'll write up an actual briefing note for each of those items, share with council to get your input into them, and then we'll have those with us in hand.
We haven't received any confirmation of who we're going to meet with, if anybody?
Yeah, nothing yet.
Okay.
But either, even with that, with regards to this AMM, for some of us, I think we need to strengthen our networks out there. We need to be involved with the rest of the communities and build relationships. So if you can go, great. If you can, it's not the end of the world. So, Councillor Manich, are you attending?
I'm traveling.
Councillor Allen?
21st to 23rd.
Yeah, 23rd, yeah. Councillor Ward? Councillor Lane? Councillor Atkinson?
I hope to.
Councillor Hopper?
I won't be able to.
Okay, so there'll be 4 of us then. Councillor Allen, Councillor Ward, myself, and Councillor Atkinson.
Look forward to your...
Julie, or Jan.
Look forward to your reports.
Yes, you will get a report. Just like the last time they did it. It's actions. Good, so we said 5 members of council and the administration, right? All in favor? Opposed? All right. Councilor Lane.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Atkinson, be resolved that council authorize the following accounts: pay period number 21 in the amount of $112,080.85. Pay period number 22 in the amount of $100,723.40. General checks number 29027 to 29089 and 29091 to 29127, amount of $3,153,568.25. FTS in the amount of $179,540.19. If you're looking at the check disbursement, you will notice that just over $2 million is the check that we give to Kelsey School Division as we are the collector of taxes for the school division.
Good. Any comments, questions on the check registry? If anybody? Councillor Hopper?
Just a question. The money that we did collect from the school board for school taxes, do we get the interest off that while we have it?
Good question. I'm not sure.
Sorry, what was the question?
The money we collect from for school tax, who collects the interest on that? Do we do it as a fee for collecting it?
That's a good point. I never thought of
No, we
that.
don't.
They get the interest.
Oh, no, we just give them whatever comes in from the taxes. They don't get additional amounts.
No, but when we're holding on to it, it's in the bank.
I'll have to ask for it.
That's a good question.
I don't know
So
how
we'll
long we
follow
have.
up.
I guess it depends how long
Councillor
we
Ward?
have it for. Yeah, I don't know how long we have it for prior.
Wouldn't need it too long either.
Hey, tell me guys what meeting is. What's that?
Trans Electric, 34,000, is that part of the grant for the lighting tax?
Yes, it's for the walking path behind the arena and the ballroom.
That's what I thought.
It's on that information sheet I gave you there on.
Yeah, so 37,000, I asked that question this afternoon. Those are the cost of the light poles and fixtures that were ordered so that they can arrive early in the spring.
Right.
Because remember, there was a delay on that. And it's part of that, 2021 capital project. And there was a grant received for 90,000, and then there's some other grants there. My other question I had was that frontline equipment, that $11,000 for the hoist, that was approved through the 2020 capital budget.
Right.
And Any other questions on the check registry? If not, call for a vote. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Jen, just a quick question. Do I put 7 on here or 6?
7.
So,
Mayor,
okay.
the mayor has a vote.
Yeah, I've been putting 6, so I'll fix
The
that.
mayor has a vote.
Okay, moved by myself, second by Councillor Atkinson, be resolved that council authorize the following accounts. General check number 29090 in the amount of $337.94.
Call the question. All in favor? Abstained? 1 and carried. Good. Museum board minutes were received. I don't think we're going to read the museum board minutes, do we?
No, but there's a resolution.
Okay.
Resolution number 2022-171, moved by myself, second by Councillor Lane, resolved the council received the Sam Waller Museum Board minutes of October 18, 2022.
Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay. Where we at? Trappers Festival, 6 to 8.
Resolution number 2022-172, moved by myself, second by Councillor Lane, resolved the council authorize a letter of support for the 2023 Trappers Festival.
So the letter that, I'm sure everybody's seen it, was on, I know you guys didn't get electronic copies, but, so that's that, we provide a $750 grant for the family fun events, but then there's a lot of time that our employees spend on the in-kind type of support, about $17,000. So, call the
I have a question, and this is something that I've thought about in the past years, but I've been too late to always ask. Trappers Festival, they always set up, and I don't know if they are this year or not, in the annex of the library. And that room is donated. I'm assuming it would be this year as well. I don't know if, since that's been the library, if that's ever been taken into consideration into the actual amount of grant money that we give.
That would be the library's budget.
Separate, right?
Separate budget.
And that's what I wanted to clarify that, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Any other questions? If none, call for vote. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, just gonna get that one thing in. Travel policy, 629.
And myself, moved by myself, second by Trevor Lane, Councillor Lane, resolve that council approve policy P-906A being the travel policy as amended.
Call for questions, and I do have a question on this. I don't know who's read this travel policy, but I actually don't personally agree with under section 5 on transportation and the procedure manual, where it says that transportation 1 under 5A, it says to use the town vehicles preferred when one available, and then you get paid for gas or parking. Should a town vehicle not, this is what I don't agree with, should a town vehicle not be available, sorry, I agree with this. Should a town vehicle not be available, personal vehicle can be used, and you would be paid mileage if you with admission of gas receipt. What I don't agree with is, should a town vehicle is preferred and available, the town will only pay, but you want to use your own vehicle, the town will only pay gas. I agree with that. Well, I don't personally agree with it. And then also in D it says, should a personal vehicle be preferred and a town vehicle is already traveling for the same course, there's no reimbursement. I don't personally agree with those 2 points. My thoughts are is that if we're traveling on our own and we have we're using our own personal vehicle for whatever reason, we get paid mileage like any other organization would be paid. We should always try to travel as a group in a van, but it's the middle of winter and I have a minivan versus a four-wheel drive truck, and I'm going to travel for a conference. I personally think I'd rather go in a truck or something that's more suitable. But that's just my comment, so I personally don't support this policy as it is. Councillor Hoffman?
I had a couple of questions as well on that, and I've misplaced where I put it, where my questions were, but it was, at one point, the town did purchase a vehicle just for travel, and that was to be used for travel, and quite often people have other business they try and do down there, and you end up with one vehicle. But again, if you're, I think over the years I was doing it, we used the town vehicle maybe 4 or 5 times. The rest of the time it was your own vehicle. It's more convenient for a variety of reasons, and one of which is that it is safety in this part of the country. So I don't know if you doesn't have to be done tonight, it could be tabled.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to recommend. I know that Councillor Manager, Councillor Allen had a chance to check through it, but maybe we could table this one for, well, actually we can't table it because we need it for our next meeting.
I'm just kind of, I mean, we could take a step back. Where did this come from? Where did this, like, I don't remember ever talking. Just all of a sudden it's on the agenda from.
Councillor Hopper?
If I have a seconder, I'd move to remove the amendments from the travel policy.
Yeah. So we need a second. So you're talking about, just so I'm clear, talking about removing
The changes.
yeah, C, D, B, C, D from the policy.
You know, the proposed changes, I'd move we remove those, but I need a seconder.
Yeah, so the removed changes would be is that we use a town vehicle if we want, and if we don't want, we use a personal vehicle, and if there's mileage of whatever the town mileage rate is.
And E will remain?
It'll always be on approval of the CAO.
No, E. Air travel is acceptable because I was under the understanding for the past 4 years that air travel was not acceptable, but it's saying in here that it is.
I have no problems with that if we need to do that.
Okay.
I mean, we shouldn't be any different than anywhere else. I mean, I think we're all wanting to be as frugal as possible, but being reasonable at the same time.
Something we need to air travel.
I know if we're flying to Toronto.
No, for me, like if I wanted to go to Winnipeg, it would be cheaper for me to use air travel than it would be to collect mileage, for example.
Yeah, because you have a discounted rate through there, right, Jay?
Yeah.
For regular guy, we wouldn't be
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
just a question. Is that already in the policy?
Yes,
That's not an amendment?
no,
No,
Okay.
it's here. And
So it's already there.
yeah.
saying that.
Okay, so call the
If it was
question,
going to
what
stay.
changes?
So we're removing B, C, and
Yes.
so my question then is, if you only have A, you left in, there's actually nothing about using your own vehicle.
My recommendation would be to leave B and just take off should town vehicle not be available, remove that. And then B would just read, a personal vehicle can be used and mileage will be paid subject to submission of gas receipts.
So we'll just get, I mean, I think we're all under the same intent. Let's get the language just to say that if we're traveling, you prefer to use the van. If you're using a van, you don't get mileage because it's a town van. If you use your own personal, if you choose to use your own personal vehicle, you get mileage.
Is that mileage should be clear though on what it is. If you're traveling, it's 600 kilometers.
There's a policy.
If you wouldn't get to work in Brandon, it's 520 kilometers, not all my driving around. But yeah, that needs to be.
No, for sure. And I mean, that's typically how it's done.
And your travel expense voucher is attached to that, and that's what gets filled out. And you wanted to look at the rates too, did you not, Mayor?
Pardon?
You wanted to look at the mileage rates too, did you?
Yes. So on the last page too, which she reminded me, is that our current mileage rates are way too low for the price that fuel is. So if you look at right now, we're talking 36 cents a kilometer, and that's probably not even gonna cover your gas.
But you're getting gas on all of that travel.
No, you don't get gas. So if you get mileage, you just get mileage.
Okay, the way that I was always instructed was the mileage was the wear and tear to your vehicle, and the gas receipts were submitted, and that's why that rate was lower. Because you're only paying for that wear and tear use of your personal vehicle, but of course costs you money.
Well, when I traveled for the town, I never got that. That was just mileage alone. So what I'm suggesting is that we should make it like the government rate. 1 second, Councillor. And, you know, put the 54 cents or whatever happens to be.
CRA rate is like 60 right.
We come back to regular meeting after our in camera and so on and so forth this evening.
Okay.
In the meantime, could we get Assistant CAO just to write it up, and then we can bring it back and do it then?
Perfect.
I think it needs a lot of amendments.
Perfect. So Jen, you want to just write up what you just said? We can scratch it on a piece of paper. And then adjust it. What is the government rate?
I looked last week and I thought that it was 60.
We can find out.
Yeah, but I don't know if she's going to be able to find out in the next few minutes, but whatever the government rate is, that's.
Can we just say,
Yeah.
say whatever?
Yeah, so we'll hold off on this.
Yeah.
Okay, that was easy. Under 6.3, nothing, going to 6.4.1, Kelsey Trail Snow Riders.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Lane. Whereas the Kelsey Trail Snow Riders have requested an extension to Snow Trail 418, which would encroach onto Town of the Paw land at the eastern limit of the fenced airport runway and travel southeast to join with the existing Trail 418. Therefore, be resolved that Council authorize the extension request as per above. Question? Has the airport been consulted on this? No issues?
Yes, there's no issues.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Okay, so moving down, committee and board reports, I believe. So, museum board, Councillor Lane.
The minutes were there that you need to look at, but I just wanted to thank you. It was a nice goodbye supper that we had for Shireen. Many people attended, had good times. The town put forth some money towards gifts. The museum board members themselves put some money towards a nice painting, and she got some other gifts from Paul Arts Council. So big loss to the community, and it was really evident the impact she had in our community with the number of people that were there. So I know we put out the ad for a replacement. So the next move is to find someone to replace her, but we wish her all the best of luck. She was with the town as the curator and moved to director, so big loss for the museum, but we're happy that she's moving on to an opportunity that she really wanted to in North Battleford. So.
Good. Any other questions? From Councillor Lane. Chamber of Commerce, there's been really no meeting. They're planning on actually having their AGM coming up. I think I can't remember the date, but there's been, we think that the AGM for the chamber is November 6th. We're looking to do an afternoon meeting. They're also working on the foundation. Yeah, more or less, and then they hosted the forums. On the CDC, we didn't get no update on the CDC today, but I'll talk a little bit about later. We're going to have an update from, a specific update from Jackie in a separate meeting so that she can kind of go through all the details of what's going on. So that it's not just a pass over, give us some time to ask questions. And because I know economic development was on everybody's, for most people's agendas during the campaign period.
The next meeting is December 1st, and we'll have to figure out committees and stuff.
Yeah. Destination marketing, that was Councilor Zelinski, we don't have anybody on there. You're in that committee, no? You're not there. Cedar Lake,
No meeting to report.
Recycling Board, Councilor Ward. Meeting. Library Board,
We were to meet last week, but it was postponed as to whether or not who's going to be appointed to the library board. So they hold it off.
Just a question. Need a pest here. On the revenue and expenses for the library, just something that jumps out, a couple of things. Is that a new grant, the $20,000? They didn't get it last year or in 2020? They got it in 2021, $20,000? That's something new?
Just a second, I'll get it here. Let's see if I can.
the library report.
Let's see if
Yeah,
I can
on their
speak to it.
statement of operations.
Yeah, we haven't got to that point yet, that's 821.
Well, I thought it was part of their report.
No, it's not part of it, it's on the agenda, 821, if you want to hold on.
It's in their annual report.
Eh?
It's in their annual report.
Yeah, but if you look on our agenda, which I know you don't have in front of you, but it's,
Okay.
we're doing committee and board reports. Maybe Councilor Atkins
Oh, it's
can
fine.
explain
Speak to
it
it.
there, but
Got it here, 821. Thanks.
okay, so scan, there's been nothing. I know Staff Sergeant, or I think it's Staff Sergeant Lemieux is trying to set something up. Kelsey Planning District, nothing going on there?
Nothing happening, it's going to meet a whole new board again.
Yeah, and Kelsey School Division, there's nothing going on there. Okay, so nothing, moving on. Kelsey Keewatin corridor letter, so there was a letter received by us. I got a call on that. I remember Councilor Ward brought this to the table in 2020. And then when COVID came, it got canceled. And what they were looking for is us to support that meeting. I think in 2020, you said it was between $1,200 and $2,400 or
I
something.
think we did budgeted $2,000, but he doesn't carry over from year to year.
No, I know it doesn't. So I did ask, when I got called, I did say, well, send a letter and then the council will have to decide on what we want to do with that. So just as the background, we were going to approve it. We did approve it in 2020 and then they first asked. Then with COVID, everything got canceled. We haven't budgeted for it in 2022 to do this.
They wanted-
To host,
They want it in 2022, or do they want it for next
They
year?
wanted, the meeting is,
like the 27th of this
Yeah,
month or
this month.
something. So what does it entail to host this meeting?
Well, the biggest thing of it all is to bring all the people that's a part of the board of Gateway Keewatin Corridor. And it's a day meeting because they mostly all drive over from Saskatchewan. So we'll start at 11 a.m., finish at 4 p.m. So it'll be just the rental of the hall and the lunch.
So who is responsible for setting up the rental of the hall and finding a caterer? Caterer, they would find all of that on their
That's
own?
all their own.
they're looking for money to host the meeting. So the meeting would be hosted based on the town of Impala is providing. That's the
Okay.
benefit that we would get, the advertisement, the support of the Keewatin Gateway corridor. So I was just looking at, so February 26, 2020, it was at council when it was, the approximate cost was $1,200 to $1,500.
And we supported it back then.
We supported
We
it.
thought that it was a good idea.
Well, I mean, it is, sort of fits into what everybody's talking about with regards to economic
Well,
development.
the Gateway Keewatin Corridor is Highway 283.
Yeah. So do we want to find the $1,500 on our budget somewhere and go forward with sponsoring this or not? That's the question. If we will need a resolution, right, Jen, written up for that.
But we have a meeting on November 28th, so we can pass it on the 28th.
Yeah, we'll have to let them know.
I don't want to kill this to death here because it's not like $1 million, but at the same time, like I'm just like, in terms of their role and their power or influence, is this a group that's, like, I know it's been around forever, so who's?
They've done a lot of pushing with the federal government, also with the provincial government.
Yeah, I know what they've done, but I just don't know, I really don't
Pretty
know.
influential.
Okay, so if they're an influential group, then great. If it's a group of, that kind of doesn't have any more influence than another group, then that's kind of where I was going. Yeah, okay.
Part of the background to this, Trevor, is they pushed very hard with Highway 55 in Saskatchewan, and the Saskatchewan government put in $25 million and paid the 39 kilometers or whatever it is up by Cape River area.
Okay.
Councilor,
I move to resolution.
move it to a resolution. Okay, so we'll make a resolution, Jen, for, what are we saying, $1,500?
Up to?
2,000?
Up to
Up to
1,500?
Yeah, okay, up to $1,500. Up to $1,500 to sponsor the host that annual general meeting.
Do you want me to do it tonight when I'm doing the policy?
Yeah, it'd probably be a good idea, and then we can kind of get that out of the way, and then you can let them know tomorrow, if you can do that. Perfect, thank you. Okay. Now is the library report, Councilor Alba. I had some questions on those things too, so. So that was received as information, and there was some difference in numbers from year to year where it looked like it. So I don't know if Councilor Atkinson has any of those answers.
What page are you on?
Financial.
Statement.
Okay.
Statement, page 3. Just three questions on it. The first one was just, the good one is $20,000 that wasn't there as received from Manitoba Bridge grant. That's new?
That is something that I'm pretty sure that had to do with COVID. And I'm pretty sure that had to do with COVID funding, but I don't believe that,
Don't know if it's going forward.
oh, it's definitely not going forward. And if it was the COVID funding, there was some money that needed to go back because it wasn't used.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
the second question was professional fees. Went from $300 to $5,500.
Professional fees. That probably had to do with wages being moved from one GL coding to another. Where are we, professional fees?
So wages are included in professional fees?
Oh, 5,500, just a second here. No, that definitely cannot be. No,
Under administration?
I thought you said 55,000. I'm there now. Okay, so then it went from 300 to 5548 professional fees.
It would just be helpful if they're going to submit a financial report like
It
that.
would be
audit,
very-
that they
yeah.
submit the whole audit so that you can see it, because it's probably explained in the audit.
Yeah.
I would assume that professional fees probably would have had to do, oh no, professional development's a line below it.
Didn't they change their way of taking?
You know what, the
those out?
professional fees will be for the audit, the audit expense, or is that somewhere
too
else
much.
too?
That'd be Baker Tilly.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can find out, just
Part in there,
curious.
yeah. So there.
And this,
Salaries and benefits.
yeah, that went down. Did we lose somebody? Usually wages are going up. That's $13,000 or so.
There has been somebody who's been on leave for quite some time.
Okay, and there's the other one, as Worship said, if they submit this, if they also send the complete audit statement, then probably wouldn't be asking the questions.
We did receive it.
Okay.
I can forward it on.
It's just not in here yet.
Okay, thank you.
So,
Any other questions with the library report?
professional fees and then the
And
bridge.
again, it's just,
Annual report was done very well, though.
yeah.
Nice job.
Okay.
I
we
assume
have
they
no more
would need to be here
citizens
to
here.
present. I thought they would have been here to present it.
No citizens, we're in a committee of the whole now. We're down to 10.3.1, so I did put in an issue sheet.
I thought Councilor Alberta, National Housing.
Yeah, it's, but we have it on the agenda to get information on Yeah, we
I didn't
can't, there's no information we can
No.
provide because,
This
Or I
question.
didn't hear exactly what you were looking for that.
Just an update on the buildings that have burnt, in particular the dental office, that was rather quick on that one. Just the status on the Morris
Derelict
buildings,
buildings.
legal aid, there's one over in Lamb. Manitoba Housing is one of the Manitoba Housing, I think they're eightplex. I don't think that's back in operation, is it? Do you have any idea?
No.
And it's been like a couple of years.
I don't think it's even there anymore. Somebody told me it's already right down.
Oh, it's gone?
Yeah.
After they,
No, and I think that if part of Councillor Hopper, part of the CDC update, you'll see that there's some priorities coming through the CDC on derelict buildings and how we deal with that, and so maybe proposing some strengthening our bylaws, how they're dealing with that.
just, so again, procedure-wise, do we have to, a motion to move into committee of the whole, or is that, we just roll into it from a council meeting?
Just roll into it.
Deputy Mayor has a thing to say.
The committee of the whole.
Into committee of the whole, yeah. Is it there? Oh, no, sorry, that's into camera.
Yeah, that's into
camera,
Yeah, we just roll right into committee of the
We
whole.
just roll
Yeah,
into
okay.
committee.
Yeah.
Okay,
There is a thing that I could say, but we haven't been saying it for 4 years, but I could say it.
What do we say?
We resolved that now, move ourselves with the committee of the whole with Mayor Murphy and the chair to discuss matters requiring your
Oh, I
attention.
didn't even know
Yeah.
that.
We just haven't been.
That's protocol.
We've just been,
Yeah, no,
Just
that's
been-
good to know.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't been doing it.
we've never been doing that, we've just been saying committee of the whole.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So,
We've now moved ourselves to the committee of the whole. Perfect, thank you very much.
And I found the answer on
Mayor
the
Murphy,
website.
the chair to discuss matters that require attention. Okay.
So we kind of moved down to 10.3.1, and I did throw this in here, more of a talking point than anything else, just so that I wouldn't forget. So as we're a new council, and I know we have a lot of things that are going to happen within the next 90 days, you know, some of the priorities that are some of the things I just wanted to update you on is I believe we need to engage a strategic planning group to come in and help us put together our next 4 years, but also our next 20-year vision. And I know that in the orientation package that we have gotten, there's a thing on strategic planning, but I personally think we need to modernize that a little bit. And our strategic planning should really engage our community. So we work with our administration on putting together the 80% or 90% plan. We engage our community on the last 10 or 15%, and then we use that as a roadmap for the rest of the 4 years, but using it as more of a, not just we made this plan, but to report on it every quarter or every, and maybe report on it personally every biannually to our community, in the community, not in council. So again, it's just for information right now. It's going to come up in our orientation, and it's just something that I wanted us all to think about is, we're going to have to put some time in the next 90 days to kind of get that straightened out. I'm sure everybody got lots of great feedback during the campaign on what's important to the community. So a lot of that can get in there. And this is why I put the Plan CDC update is I think we need to hear what else is going on, bring people up to speed on what the CDC is doing, what things are out there, like the airport development, the RM land, those type of things that are happening, and get some feedback on taxation and what developers are telling the community when Jackie's actually trying to encourage people to come and develop here. So it sort of fits in strategic planning, get a bit of an input from the CDC, but then the next thing is really around the budget process. And I think for us as a group, we need to, as soon as we can kind of get this going, we need to get into the budget straight away, because we're going to have some really tough decisions this year. And unfortunately, our taxes are going to have to go up. But it depends on how creative we get, whether we're going to use special service levies like every other community in Manitoba uses, or we're going to get a taxation toolkit like Saskatchewan and every other province has, except for Manitoba. But I think we need to wrap our heads around that before that. So that's sort of the plans there. I'll just skip down a little bit on that orientation plan. So you guys have seen what's on in that orientation package. We need to sort of nail down some evenings within the next few weeks, so we can try to knock that off before the end of the month. And one of the things that we're looking for is that it'll also give us some time to spend some time together with each other and kind of figure out where we're all going and kind of strengthen our own team here. So with that, has anybody looked at their orientation dates? Is there any, I know it's going to be almost next to impossible for us all to agree. Can we say we need 3 or 4 weekday nights for 3 hours? Is there any days that are like Saturdays and Sundays or Fridays are not really good for me, but I'm not the only one, but can we pick a couple of nights and say, let's try to get them done in 1 week, or we want to spread it over a couple of weeks, or? I don't know if anybody's looked at that stuff.
I'm fine for any Monday night.
Monday nights?
This is a Monday night, so it's,
Can we just do Monday nights? How's Monday night sound?
As long as we don't start this Monday next week.
Yeah.
As long as we don't have the 14th, anyone after that.
Okay, so that's what we the deal. We'll shoot for Monday nights. That's what we'll do, Jen. And then we'll see where we go. And then once we kind of get through 1 or 2 of them, we can see if we need to pick up a Wednesday night, something to finish it all off. So.
Because I'm asking to eliminate the 14th, I would only give 2 nights, so we wouldn't probably have to pick up.
Yeah, so once we get going, once we get through 1, then we can kind of.
November 30th is out
The
though.
21st and 28th.
Oh, yeah.
I have a full board meeting that day.
Yeah, so that really only leaves us the 28th.
no, go Tuesdays then.
Council's 28.
Yeah, so can we go Tuesday nights? 15th, 22nd, 29th? 15th? Let's go to the 15th. And then once we get through the 15th, we'll have the 29th for sure. So 15th, 29th, and we'll see what else we can, once we have the first one, maybe we can find another night to get in there.
Aren't you away?
No.
The 15th?
When you're talking about strategic planning, well, I mean, not that you're gonna, I don't want 2 things. I don't want all this stuff all in one night.
No.
But if you're talking this orientation, this is almost somewhat strategic planning. Is your strategy to, suggest, because I'm assuming to hire someone to help us do the strategic plan?
Yeah, the strategic planning, Councilor, I think will be on a completely separate night, all on its own. It's not nothing to do with this orientation.
No, I know, but what I'm suggesting is, I guess and I don't mind putting my time in, right, but if we're going to do Tuesday nights and do the orientation, and then right after that, we're going to say, yeah, we just hired such and such strategic plan. We're also going to meet on Thursday nights, and then we're going to go, and it's like we're...
No, I hear what you're saying.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm just curious as to whether we could...
January is a slow month.
What's
Yeah.
that?
January is a slow
Yeah,
month.
so here's my vision on the strategic planning, is that we give direction now to Julie to find a strategic planning group that's good. And we kind of understand what their timeline is to get us through it. Is it 8 hours? Is it 16 hours? Is it 30 hours? And then, and have them sort of present a schedule on what it looks like. You know, hopefully some of that work can be done together, and hopefully some of that work is done separately on your own, right? So, I don't, and as Councillor Hopper said, you know, maybe January is when we nail down that strategic planning and kind of do it then. And first step is let's get the orientation done so that we all sort of go through, understand our roles and watch the videos and governance and all that sort of stuff, go through our financial plan, have the budgeting sort of timelines laid out, and then the strategic planning. Hopefully Julie will have something that she present to us.
Okay.
So right now we'll say November 15th and November 29th. What time, start time, you guys want to do 5 o'clock? Bring in a pizza or 2 and have dinner. Or
I'm fine with 5.
5 o'clock, guys? Okay, 5 o'clock, and we'll bring in,
Okay with 5, Trevor?
Yeah, I can.
5 o'clock, Trevor.
That's,
I'll be calling in.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. Might as well. Just put you on mute. Oh, I think there's something wrong with the connection.
from the
Zoom meeting.
ring, from the ring.
Okay, so we'll shoot for 5 o'clock on November 15th, our first one. So we'll let Julie know that. Just to go back to what we were talking about there, so yeah, so that's the orientation plan. So a couple other updates. Do you guys want to give an update, as we sort of brought it up? Carrie and or Councillor Atkinson and Councillor Ward were with us on Saturday morning when we met with MP Ashton. You want to give an update?
Sure. So the three of us, as well as everybody from the RM, all attended a breakfast at the Wascana that was hosted by Nikki Ashton. Her assistant was there as well, Melanie Turner. And Melanie, prior to working with Nikki, worked with Amanda. So there were different topics of conversation that were brought up. One thing that I had brought up was our policing and the fact that we needed to pay a really, really large amount of money in retro pay. Nikki seemed to, how do I say this, kind of sort of be unaware that we had this huge plan and amount of money that we needed to pay back, and Nikki has told us at the table that she was going to write a letter in regards to that. Another topic that I spoke to was the fact that, you know, the municipal government, we have tax incentives. And if both the provincial and the federal government also offer tax incentives, possibly our economic development could flourish. If she was able to somehow make something federal come into play. Councillor Murphy, you spoke to different health issues. Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, no, we just brought up, I mean, it's more of like our elevator speech on healthcare and support for our social issues in the community and our people that are requiring assistance that, you know, we can't offer it's just we're not set up to offer the actual support that they need. And we want to be part of the solution, but really, you know, it sort of needs all levels of government as well to kind of help us move that forward. And so we've had a discussion around that, and we talked about the economic development in the area. So we planted a bunch of seeds about, you know, what's going on. We did talk about our hospital being the oldest hospital in the province. There's no announcements being done. We have a clinic that's not actually functional. We have doctor recruitment is challenging because there's no place for doctors to practice medicine. And we talked about a little bit about the doctors' Manitoba thing. So.
We have to keep bringing it up, but you know what happens when you plant seeds in frozen ground.
Another thing we spoke to as well was, did you have another comment with that?
Oh.
No? And I meant to say this earlier too, was in regards to the police agreement, that we don't have any say in that policing agreement as well. That here's the agreement, it is what it is, and how it's based around population. And if we had less than 5,000 people in our community, how much lower we would have to pay, and kind of sort of how we have like zero say in any of it. We accept it and we pay it, and it is what it is, right?
Councillor?
Worship, what's our contract? When's it up with the current lease on the building and so on and so forth?
I'm not sure, but their contract on their rate is 20.
No, that was actually brought up, I think Mayor Jakes brought that up, and I don't remember off the top. It's a long time still.
Yeah.
Because it must have been renewed then.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was.
2029?
Because what we had suggested back before it was renewed, I'm not sure what the term is now, but is to, we're not going to pay the rent anymore. We'll build our own building, and then we'll rent it to you,
Yeah.
like some communities have done. It sounds like we missed the boat on that.
Do you remember, Jen, when the lease was renewed? Maybe we could get that as information.
We did look at that, on council, but it became one of those things where we looked at what the taxes that we would lose, and then any upgrades on the building, and like, for instance, the cells got changed. So the cells got changed, how many hundreds of thousands of dollars. So we make a building, but it's got to meet their requirements, and if any changes, we're on the hook. So I think we looked at it, and it wouldn't necessarily be cash flow positive. You'd still be behind the eight ball with those costs. I mean, we have a Cadillac-sized building there for the amount of officers that we have. Costs keep going up. I'm not sure if building a building would be whatever. We try and look at what we can control, and that's one of the things we can control. But
At this point, we can't control it if we don't, if we're under contract.
yeah.
One of the other things we had talked about or asked about before was like, it's a regional office type thing, like it serves many communities around. But the money comes in from other communities, or if the town that pays for it.
Well, there is a distinction between rural and town, and the, Inspector Lemieux, that's all split up. In fact, it's split up in favor of the town in a lot of cases. I'm not sure what the arrangement is now with OCN policing, but I know the town does go over there. Be interested to know if we're billing them for that. We should be.
That was supposed to happen, yes.
Yeah, I'm not aware.
We never got any feedback from staff secretary on what monies we were getting back. We had talked about an officer from here goes over there to assist them, and he has to bring in somebody here on overtime.
Should all be billable.
Yeah, it is.
Should be billed back down.
But not with the new police force.
No.
Not with the new one. Because we just don't go over there unless, the only time, and I could be wrong, but the only time we do mutual aid is no different than the fire department, where there's a fire out of control or whatever we need.
And I think the province picks up that.
Yeah, but other than that, there's no, we only send our guys if there's and vice versa, they only send their people if it's a big, there's no bills, but it used to. And,
Okay, so that was the update on that. Couple other things just to update on. I did meet with Neil Scott on Thursday, Scott. Just had a general discussion, talking about our councils working closer together. And I also have a meeting tomorrow morning at 9 with Chief Valentine. So I'm going over there to have a chat with him. Again, just a general introduction to get our councils, just to make sure we're all working together, sort of thing. So that was that. And then I also, as was mentioned earlier tonight, by our citizen, I have reached out to Canadian Mental Health in Swan River, and I followed up with them again today. I'm still waiting for a phone call from them. We want to make sure that we have a plan to be able to support our citizens if things go south and how we can kind of get the place open. We also had a good meeting with myself, Julie, and Jen had a good meeting with the Friendship Center, and I think we resolved a lot of issues that day just by visiting over there, Jen? So I think, we're moving in the right direction on that stuff. So once I hear more about that, I'll just keep you guys in the loop by sending you an email. It's really, I'm not doing any business, just kind of building relationships with it. And that's all I have there. Oh yeah, electronic devices, where is that?
That's right after 2015 strategic plan.
Yeah, just wait one
second from the bottom?
It's under 10 Street, under 10 Street 2, near the bottom, just before personnel and
It's not on my.
What number is it?
John,
This one right here. Oh, I don't know where we are. Just a second, I'll tell you where we are. We are
What are we on?
in 10, we're in 10.3.2.
Okay, so, Jen, do you want to help explain this? Please.
So it was done through a program called AllNet. How you access the agenda and all the attachments and everything. In the past, councilors were just, administration just bought iPads and all councilors were giving iPads. There's a lot of new things other than iPads nowadays. Somebody might have a laptop they would prefer to use. So in speaking with Mayor Murphy, it was suggested that maybe councilors just be given a $500, what do we call a stipend, and you do what you want with it. You get whatever device you want to use.
I guess you have a choice, right? Like if you want us to supply you with an iPad,
If that's what you want.
then we'll get an iPad. I think that was the options that we had when we joined. If you wanted an iPad or if you wanted a laptop, it'll be bottom of the line sort of thing. Or you can take the money if you want a better iPad or a better laptop, you take a fee of whatever the average was, but I think Jen said $500, and then you go buy yourself something, show the receipt, and that's what you use. But so I guess it's really up to us to decide what we want to do there. I guess Jen, can we just have the councilors just approach you separately to say, if Councilor Hopper says I want an iPad, just give me whatever the standard is, then we just give it. Yeah, well, that's what I'm.
You can do.
No, I know, but what I'm
can
doing.
buy mine for 400? I'll give it to.
What I'm doing is whatever is easiest for you. Is it easier or do you want me to go around the room right now, or do you
No,
want
just
to give guys some time to think about it?
Just shoot me an email.
Okay.
Which way you want to go, if you want the $500 or if you want an iPad or.
Need a resolution for that?
No, I think it's an automatic. Well, we'll need a resolution
I
later.
was going to recommend that when we review our procedural and organizational the indemnity bylaw, we include that as part of the indemnity bylaw.
Yeah, because in our first meeting when we became councilors, it was just.
It was just
automatic.
given to you.
They were just here.
They were here already.
Yeah.
Who's your IT person?
We don't have one right now.
Yeah.
Darn.
Yeah, there's that new place.
365 Technologies.
Yeah.
They are just in the process of getting everything organized with Laura Armstrong, the controller. We just had.
Okay, so let Jen know what you guys are looking for. And then we'll, once she knows, we'll know the price, we'll just bring it as a resolution to pay for whatever it costs us.
So we can put that $500 forward to the big screen so I can see it now here?
Yeah. Yeah.
One thing, though, that I will point out is that if somebody chooses to get a laptop over an iPad, that IT may not necessarily always be available, right? To try and get that laptop back up and running if you somehow get a virus. This iPad, it's been fantastic to use for these meetings, but that's everybody each their own, right?
My iPad lasted a couple months and I dropped it on the floor, smashed everybody.
So just a question on that then, say for instance, get a laptop, have an issue with it, take it to Jean's because it needs to be looked at?
You wouldn't go to Jean's, you'd have to bring it here and then our IT would have to look at it.
You said you don't have IT.
We just hired 365 Technologies.
Perfect, okay, good.
But they're not local. So it would probably get on the phone or send them the iPad or send them the laptop.
We had this. We had it this way before.
Back to paper.
That it was, we were, for the health region, I'll share. We were given $500 as a one-time fee. And you go out and buy whatever device you want. Now, if your laptop dies in 3 months, since you have purchased it on your own, that's up to you to try and make it work again. So that's why I'm saying like iPads, they may be a little bit more pricey, but at least you're not going to get your virus, you're not going to get all these other things that could possibly come with it, unless you drop it. I never knew you dropped yours.
Okay, so let Jen know what you want, because you won't continue to get printed out copies, and it's way easier for you to look at this before you come to the meeting, and it's on there, because you will be on there Thursday night. All right.
Because we can't get colored paper anymore. I knew Gary would appreciate it.
Yeah.
So try.
Okay, nothing, I don't think we have anything else on the agenda other than we move to in-camera.
Resolve that we now move ourselves to the in-camera portion of the committee of the whole, with Mayor Murphy and the chair to discuss matters requiring our attention.
All right, just
Let me